Yeah, hi everybody. Welcome to our seminar, Security Service Chaining for a Secure Data Center. My name is Stefan Diepola. I'm the head of solution engineering at Neox Networks, and I will to do together with my colleague this seminar. Patrick, would you like to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Stefan. Yes, my name is Patrick Nixdorf, and I'm part of the solution engineering team from Stefan. And I hope I will be able, together with Stefan, to provide you with a nice flow of information today.
Yeah, so we are doing, Patrick and I will show you how multiple inline security tools can be operated in a chain without compromising availability. I will take the customer and operation perspective. The questions usually people ask about risk, uptime, deployment, impact, and business value. Patrick will take the technical side and explain how the packet hawk secures the chain in normal operation, during maintenance, and in failure solutions. So, what can you expect during these, let's say, 45 minutes? Our path is very simple. Why inline security becomes fragile, what the NEOX solution adds, and how continuity is maintained, what extra visibility value you gain, and then we will end up in the question and answers. I would prefer that the question and answers you can type into the chat, and we will then focus on them afterwards. Pat,
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So, from me being like the technical side, as Stefan already mentioned, so I will try to transport the message of the deterministic behavior that a bypass tab can and will introduce into your network, into your infrastructure, clear health monitoring, also clear bypass logic, and as mentioned already, clear integration into the data path, securing your network against outages from any kind of failure from security appliances. That's today's mission that we hope we can transport.
so let us first zoom out a bit and place the packet hawk in a broader NEOX visibility architecture. So why is it important to have such service chaining in the context of access, process, feed, store, and analyze rich network data for security and application monitoring? The reason this matters is that operators want two outcomes at the same time: keep applications up and keep data secure.
Absolutely. And in these kind of situations, the packet hawk, which is the key component for this kind of applications, the packet hawk plays the continuity role inside of that bigger platform because it actually protects production paths when inline security tools are being inserted into your network, into your infrastructure, so that the monitoring and the protection itself, it does not introduce any kind of unnecessary outage risks, which is actually obviously very important for assuring business continuity.
Exactly. The key point is here business continuity. And now let us look at the environments where this challenge become especially visible. So whatever data center you have, which color, like a data center in an operator, like a high performance computing, like a data center for high frequency trading, you always have the same challenge. You want to keep the uptime, what you like to have short change windows, you like to have multiple inline tools in the same path. You want to have no latency or downtimes, and you always want to have deterministic behavior. You want also to add maybe inspection, but without turning the security layer into an outage layer. All these can be done with one single tool provided by Neox here. And of course, you always want to have the visibility up and running. It doesn't matter if you look at the north-south traffic or the east-west traffic. Um, every traffic, of course, is important for your operation and also for your security analysis. Patrick, please, can you?
Absolutely. Yeah. Sure. So we were now, since we're talking a few minutes already about the so what we want to achieve with a security chain, what is the outcome, or what the from a high level perspective, what the desirable outcome is. So in general, if we actually, especially if we focus on the bottom row where we have why secure or HA service chaining matters. And this is actually a very important, very interesting point, and it explains it very nicely. So obviously, service chaining itself, it allows you to insert tools, and they can also fail safely without introducing any kind of point of failure, and allowing you to maintain the production continuity. And also in general, for all kind of verticals, that it be data center, high performance computing, or the HFT, the high frequency trading, you get predictable fail open or fail close behavior. And this actually is one of the key points of using the packet hawk solution, because it gives you, the user, full control over what should happen, what is going to happen with your network link if any kind of tool is failing, if any kind of members of any chain is failing, of your security chain. It gives you full control, making any kind of non-regular situation absolutely predictable. And this is one of the key points of why security chaining actually matters.
Yeah, very important. Not the differences counts here in the different style of data centers, but the same operational requirements.
Absolutely.
Inline security must not create latency, outages, or rigid maintenance windows. So, in this context, what exactly does the packet hog add? Let me change the slide here. So, Patrick.
Yes. So what we see here is a real picture of our PacketHawk bypass solution. So what is it designed to do? So the PacketHawk itself, it's an inline bypass tab for highly available security chains, because it actively, safely connects inline tools to the data path. It monitors their health and enforces the already mentioned deterministic behavior during failovers or maintenance windows. And actually, like already mentioned, giving you, the user, the full control, predictable control over what is going to happen to your network in any situation where you have a failure of the connected security tools. The value slide itself matters because PacketHawk is not just a passive fiber tab that you may would think of, but it actively adds heartbeat monitoring, which allows you to actively probe the security solution connected to the chain on their health status, and act accordingly, providing you with also link loss detection and multitude of operating modes, such as the cascading, regular active standby, of course, the bypass functionality itself, as well as visibility modes, including filtration possibilities, which we will, of course, cover later. I believe with the next slides, we will start to dive into the deployment, how the PacketHawk is going to look like in a close view, and what you can expect when deploying a PacketHawk bypass tab.
Exactly. Just important like this, where does it sit physically and how complicated is the deployment that we will show on the next slide here.
Absolutely. So what we see here, it's a close-up picture of the packet hawk bypass tab solution. As you can see, it's a one-use solution, actually consisting of two components: the chassis itself and up to two modules per single chassis. So what we see on the very prominent on the left side with the red boxes marking the interfaces, this is the front view of a single module. And a module always consists of two network ports. In this example we see here, we have the LC duplex connectors. You have a dedicated console and dedicated Ethernet management port, as well as four device or tool ports, which always operate in pairing. So you have inline 1A and 1B functioning as the first tool port pair, and inline 2A, 2B being the second tool port pair. So each module is operating completely independent of each other. So there's no backplane communication or exchange of statuses or something like that. This is purely, the chassis itself is purely providing power and cooling, and all the processing and handling and bypassing of the traffic is being done on the module itself that we can see here.
Yes, very important, Patrick. This inline tab is for high available security chains, right? And the inline tool to the data paths monitor their health and ensure deterministic behavior during failure and maintenance is done between the two networks in the device tool ports, which are in the range of 10G, 40G, or even, I guess, 100G, right?
Exactly, yes. So all kinds of different models are available. So the summarized, as Stefan mentioned, so we have the packet talk is available for 10, 40, and 100 gigabit network segments, so to say, fully passive and available, of course, for multi-mode as well as for single mode deployments.
Okay, so let us now come to the core question of the webinar. How is the service chain itself protected? Let me switch the slide.
Wonderful. That is one of my most favorite slides, actually. So what we see here, remember a few slides back, we were talking about the benefits of the packet talk bypass solutions and the multitude of operation modes. And one of the most prominent operation mode is the service chaining, which of course also is our topic for today's webinar. So service chaining, what exactly does this mean from our perspective, from our network monitoring and security perspective? Service chaining means that we allow to have, or that we allow the user to deploy a multitude of inline security solutions in a chain, and have the live network traffic being passing through the chain of inline security tools the user is deploying. And the packet hawk is enabling the deployment of tool chain while securing the network from an outage of either all of the tools or just a single tool. So in general, the service chaining with a single packet hawk module, as we can see here in this high-level diagram, which is really nice, is you can have up to two security devices being connected to the same packet hawk module. Remember in the previous slide where we had the close-up picture of that module? So we have net A and net B being these LC duplex connectors we just saw. These are being connected to your parameter, for example. In the example we see here, we have a connection between an edge router and a switch fabric, and we just put the packet hawk directly in between, connecting network A and network B ports to the according devices, to the edge router and the switch. And then we remember the four transceiver slots labeled inline 1A, 1B, 2A, and 2B. These are, and since these are functioning as port pairs, we have the first inline tool, for example, could be an SSL or TLS decryption solution. And the second tool that we want to deploy in the chain could be a web application firewall. So what the solution, or what in this case the chain would do, is traffic would arrive at the packet hawk. And at first it would go to that first inline port pair being the TLS decryption solution. And after the TLS decryption solution was doing its work, processing the traffic, making a decrypted copy of the traffic, either for its own inspection chain or for other purposes, traffic is coming back to the packet hog, and the packet hog is actively rerouting that traffic to that second inline tool, the web application firewall, allowing you to flexible process the chain configuration in case of a failing device, because if, for example, the SSL solution would have a failure either via power, either with a loss of power, or the software is not, or the software component of the solution is not working anymore, being detected by that already mentioned heartbeat signal, which is being generated on the packet hog itself in order to monitor the health status of the connected tools. And if either one of these is failing, you, the user, will get full control over what should happen, should it be fail open or fail close, and therefore jumping over that first tool and redirecting the traffic only to the web application firewall, or closing the chain itself completely in order to always have full availability of traffic in the network environment where the packet hog is being located at.
Okay. And if the tool needs to be removed entirely of the paths,
This is
continuity is
also
still protected.
absolutely no problem. You can do this. This is one of the key advantages of the bypass tab itself, regardless of the operation mode. So this is not necessarily being tied to the service chaining, but you can always just safely remove any kind of inline tool, because the packet hog will detect it automatically if the link is gone. If the link is gone to that security tool, it will remove it from that equation, from the chain, in an instant, and traffic will be routed through the network directly without going to that now removed security tool. So you can safely remove any kind of tool, either accidentally or intentionally, without influencing the live network traffic at all times.
This is very interesting. Can I do either it from some kind of management console, or can I just drop the cable?
Actually, you can do both. I mean, obviously, there is the possibility, and I mentioned already the term full control. So you definitely have the possibility to turn on the so-called bypass mode, either for the whole module or only for a single port pair, in order to prepare the removal of a tool. But if as an urgent situation comes in or the device itself is failing, you can also just remove the device physically from the packet hog module, and it will automatically bypass this tool. So you can do it either via the web UI, over the web UI, or via SSH, CLI, or plain just remove the cable, and that's it.
Okay, let's have a closer look at how it looks like on the next slide.
This is the bypass. So what happens if we are going to remove the cable, or if we're going to turn on the bypass mode in the web UI? So exactly what we see here. So in this example, we still have our service chaining active with on the first port pair, the TLS solution, second port pair, the web application firewall being connected. And for whatever reasons, either because the heartbeat signal was not being passing through the TLS anymore, or we were configuring bypass enable on the web UI, or somebody just pulled the plug of the TLS solution, the packet hog, as mentioned, will automatically detect that, bypassing the tool itself or both tools in case of failure or a maintenance window, while always ensuring zero loss network traffic flow in a bypass state.
I guess, Patrick, this is the strongest availability question in the room. Does the traffic still flow in the inspection path is gone?
So if the inspection path is gone, so in this situation, even in this situation where we only have like a single unit of that inspection chain or that service chain is being removed, even then you would get the full control. Do you want to disable the whole inspection chain and have the traffic being bridged between network A and network B immediately without any kind of packet loss? Or do you want to continue with your now so to say, reduced service chaining consisting only of the web application firewall now. This kind of control you will always have. You can always predefine what should happen at any point um, at any in any situation of that service chain. So to answer your question, regardless if the service chain is still present or not, traffic will always be flowing between network A and network B. You will always have full control and full visibility.
And what happens, dear Patrick, if the power, for example, loss on the packet hot appears?
That's a very good question. So if the packet hawk itself is losing power, which of course is also one of the failing scenarios, sure, not only a tool can have a power failure, but also the packet hawk itself can also have a power failure. We are also prone to that. So what is going to happen? Something called fail to wire. So underneath the hood, so to say, the packet hawk itself is a layer one device. So if there is a power failure or even a software failure, it will always go down to fail to wire and bridging physically network A and network B with a physical component that is soldered onto the PCB. So there's no interaction, no programming being required. In a case of power failure of the packet hawk, you will have fail to wire capability, and traffic will continue to flow between network A and network B.
Have you already explained what happens if some tool comes up after a failure?
After
What will
failure,
happen?
even then, remember that term control I like to use quite often now.
Mhm.
Even then, you have the control. If the tool, for example, to stay on this slide, we see we have the TLS solution failing. In case this TLS solution is coming up again and is live, and that heartbeat is going through again. So from a health monitoring perspective, the packet hawk decides this tool looks good. You can still decide, do you want to have it automatically being put back into that service chain, or do you want the user to have to manually allow it to be part of that service chain again? So if the tool comes back live again, so to say, you can still control, do you want to have it being put back into this chain automatically, or do you want to manually allow it?
This is a clean fail-safe principle of the architecture, right? So after now the continuity foundation, let's say like this is clear, we can go to a broader and wider scope and more complex chains. We have prepared the next slide exactly for this.
This is
So
even better.
no problem. At this point, a simple chain become a real platform architecture, right? Here,
Absolutely.
yeah, let's talk a little bit about how we can even go with more than two devices.
Yeah, absolutely. So you may have already s- thought about that the quote unquote limitation when it comes to that service chaining is being that you can only connect up to two inline tools to a single packet hawk module purely because of the limited amount of ports. So in case that you want to have the chain consist of more than just two members, which in a lot of cases this is going to happen, or you want to have additional monitoring tools being able to participate from the capabilities of the bypass tab of the packet hawk. You might want to enrich the service chaining with the packet line packet broker to turn that quote unquote regular service chaining into an extended service chaining with a packet broker. So what we see here is rather than having the SSL or the TLS solution and the web application firewall being connected directly to the packet hawk, we are placing a packet broker in between the packet hawk itself, which is like the interception point, which is sitting on the live network segment, and the monitoring tools or the security tools. And the packet broker is functioning as a sort of, think of it like a high level aggregation and distribution layer that is taking the traffic, as we can see. So the packet broker is connected to the first inline port pair, taking the inline traffic from net A and net B, and then building its own service chain, again with the same kind of monitoring capabilities, self-monitoring capabilities that we already know from the packet hawk. So the packet line is also capable of deciding if a tool is alive or not based on the power status of that tool, based on the link status of that tool, as well as on the health status, which is being determined by also a fully configurable heartbeat packet, identical to the one that the packet hawk is generating. The packet line packet broker can also create and generate dedicated heartbeat signals for its own tools. And from a high level perspective, what we see here, traffic is, for example, coming in from the edge router. It is entering the packet hawk or net A, then immediately being forwarded towards the packet broker via this inline 1A interface. And then the packet broker has its own service chain consisting of, in this case, TLS solution, web application firewall, and intrusion prevention system. So any kind of traffic entering the packet hawk will be forwarded to the packet broker, and the packet broker has an extended service chain, which can consist of actually the only limitation is the amount of ports, 20 tools that you can have, also with inline load balancing, obviously local heartbeat generation on the packet broker, and advanced filtering and other features that the packet broker is going to provide. And this is like, allow me the term to use, like this is end game service chaining. This is state of the art.
Okay, great. Let's take the broker now part of the high level and go back to a much more simpler but even very important scenario for the service chaining. The operators often favorite question, maintenance and failover. If I'm running, for example, production application, my first question is usually what happens during maintenance, right? What happens if the primary fails? And here we can introduce, a high available active standby mode with a single device. Operational, this is where people either gain confidence or lose confidence in the design. Patrick.
Yes, absolutely. You're right. So high availability, this is also one of the most common operation modes in a bypass tab, especially in the packet hawk from Neos networks. So the HA, as we can already see, it's pretty straightforward, and I believe everybody from actually the majority of you can already assume what we're seeing here. So we have two tools, Web Application Firewall A and B. They are operating in an HA scenario, in an HA situation. And the packet hawk is able to also operate in an HA mode. And remember, in the very beginning, we were having the two inline port pairs, and each port pair can be addressed and operated individually. So on the first inline port pair, Web Application Firewall A, and the B to the second port pair. And by default, all the traffic that the packet hawk is receiving from the network via network A or network B, everything will be always being sent to the first inline port pair. Basic operation, all fine, all good. So now if for whatever reasons this web application firewall A is failing, the active unit is failing, the packet hawk will, of course, detect it based on its self-monitoring capabilities and automatically shift over to the standby solution. And here comes again, I'm pretty sure, I hope you can bear with me, Stefan, that I'm now answering a question you most likely are going to ask now, but I'm answering it already now. Here is if there is the failover. So after we do the failover to the second web application firewall to the standby, and assuming after some point that it be a maintenance window, fixing, replacing the primary or the active, the first web application firewall A after it has been restored, you again have the full control, as we just mentioned a few slides back. What should happen if the tool is coming back again? Should it be operated in auto mode, which will automatically restore the default state being active standby, and the active port pair is inline 1A and 1B, and the standby port pair 2A, 2B Or do you want to have it manually, that you, as I mentioned, that you have to manually confirm the tool is now live again, put it back into the monitoring, put it back as the active mode. And you also get the possibility to either turn off or on sticky mode. Sticky mode means if the web application firewall B is now taking over, it would become in an enable sticky mode, it would become the now primary, the active device, waiting for the secondary device to take over if it's going to fail.
Yeah, thank you so much. Resilience is one benefit of the network entity here, but visibility is is the next one. Let us have a quick look at the visibility. Uh, yeah, very often customer do not only wait. It was a little bit too fast. Visibility. Customers do not only want traffic protection, but they also want to see the traffic for monitoring or forensics. Where is our value at here? So in this, where the architecture starts delivering more than only resilience, but also yeah,
Yeah,
the monitoring.
this is showing a feature which, depending on if you are already familiar with bypass tabs and with the other options out there on the market, this feature we see here, this is a very unique feature to the Packet Hawk. So again, inline port pair 1A, 1B, we have the web application firewall, all fine, all good. The traffic is coming into the Hawk from network A and or network B, and actively being routed through the application firewall to do the inline processing. Now, at the very same time, you might want to have an additional so-called out-of-band monitoring. So where, similar to when you deploy a network tab, either a copper network tab or fiber network tab, or even a span port, sometimes you want to have an additional out-of-band monitoring to analyze network behavior, who's talking to whom, like these basic top talkers, top applications, top protocols, dashboards, and these kind of solutions, these kind of monitoring tools, as we can see here, they do not need the live traffic, but just a copy of the traffic. And this is the visibility mode that the Packet Hawk is also providing. So while we will redirect the live traffic to any kind of inline tool or multiple inline tools in the service chain for inspection and processing and applying policies and shaping, the Packet Hawk has, in addition, at the very same time, the capability to generate or to make a copy, an identical copy of the traffic that is entering the Packet Hawk, and we can make a copy of the traffic at any point of that processing chain, meaning we can make a copy of the traffic when it's entering the Packet Hawk, or we can make a copy of the traffic after it has been processed and before it's being sent back into the network. We can make a copy of the traffic, and as we can see in this high-level diagram, the monitoring tool, the out-of-band monitoring tool, is getting an identical copy, an aggregated copy of the traffic that is entering network A from the edge router, as well as from network B, from the switch fabric, from the network, from customers network. And we are making a copy of the traffic and feeding it into the monitoring tool for passive out-of-band monitoring, retrospectively taking a look at the traffic, and at the same time feeding the web application firewall with the live actual traffic from that segment.
Yeah, so plenty of, let's say, modes how to aggregate the traffic. We have always another operator questions coming into the light, right? What if we have already a network tool here between net A and net B? Can we also filter which traffic goes where? That is always, I guess, a question. The answer is
Absolutely.
short. It is yes,
It
right?
is, yes. Yeah. And this is actually it's coming in handy if because in most of the cases is when we're talking about the visibility mode, the monitoring tools have limited processing capabilities, and sometimes you do not want to feed all the traffic into a monitoring tool because you're not interested in all the traffic, or you could overload it. And for this for these kind of situations, and for many, many more situations, we have additional inline filtering capabilities that allow you to define what kind of traffic should be sent to the inspection chain, should be sent to an inline tool, or should be sent to an out-of-band monitoring tool. So by default, obviously, everything that is entered, all the traffic that is entering the packet hawk will always be sent through the inspection chain through the attached inline tools. However, if you want to be more granular, you get the possibility to apply filtration from layer 2 to layer 4 and deciding what kind of traffic, what kind of parts of the network traffic should be sent to the inline tool, should be sent to the inspection chain, while the remaining traffic will just stay on the wire and will not go into the inspection chain. It will just pass through uninspected, so to say, and will just stay on the wire. And obviously, this is done in hardware. There is no software component that is adding additional cycles or latency when you want to apply filtration. This is all done in hardware.
Yeah, that is that, and this feature allows a lot of more even wider, broader design approaches, which we like to show in the next slide, because you can really do fancy things with filtration and yeah, steering the traffic.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we're talking about the filtration and steering, this is, for example, another good example that we see here, the dual module homing deployment, having a single DDoS system that is sitting at a central position in the network, and it's being fed by the by two packet hawk modules, which are feeding another packet broker, another packet line in between, sitting operating as again as a logical aggregation and regeneration layer, filtration layer as well. It's taking the traffic from the redundant packet hawk modules that are sitting on the redundant network links of a network and feeding all the traffic into a single DDoS. And the packet broker will also ensure that it will not mix up the traffic in regard to the packets from the individual traffic sources, and it will always ensure that the traffic is being, after it has been being processed by the DDoS, that the traffic is being sent back to its proper origin. And of course, this can also be enriched with the filtration on the packet hawk itself, because you might not want to send all the traffic to the DDoS, but only parts of it. And this is very useful in order to also reduce the load of the DDoS. And yeah, another great example for a bigger solution and filtration.
Yeah, that is also what we see here. That is that we are not limited to an isolated inline pair, but also part of a more resilient network design, right? And this lead us directly to a even more larger architectural view, where we reconnect the packet hawk to a real data center overall architectural view. Let me go here. So what we see here is, of course, a big picture with a lot of lines and a lot of applications and a lot of network entities, but it is useful because it puts the network, the packet hawk, which is the orange one here, into the full architecture. We are not talking about a standalone box. We are talking about a one control point inside a very large network, larger visibility and security design. And this shows also why it matters across data centers, high performance computing, or high frequency trading. It all has the same, let's say, challenges with the same, in the same, let's say, realm. Patrick.
Absolutely, yeah. This is a great picture because it shows from a very high level point of view the placement of key components that are being required in order to deploy a fully fledged network monitoring and security platform. So at any point, we are enabling, for example, NOCs or SOCs with the equipment, with all the key components. So obviously, as you already mentioned correctly, so these orange yellow boxes at the bottom, these are the packet hawk bypass tabs that we were talking about in this webinar. And along with packet ravens modular tabs, we can see slightly above, sitting at the TOR switches at the top of the rack switches, as well as the virtual tabs and virtual packet brokers sitting at the very top in the virtual environment. All of these are feeding the brokering layer, which remember when I mentioned the high level aggregation and load balancing layer. This is packet line, packet broker being managed, capable to be managed by a central management system, the packet director, feeding into the packet shark for encryption or decryption, packet processing being done by the packet wolf for deduplication and advanced packet processing. Then finally feeding into a full packet capture system to retrospectively analyze the traffic, any kind of traffic, and at the same time feeding the tool rail while always being 100% vendor agnostic. This is very important. So at least from my point of view, the fully vendor agnostic behavior of all the key components we see here from our portfolio, they always operate and interact with any other tools as well, obviously.
Okay, let us, with that big picture in mind, let us close and go to the 3 takeaways. So if I have to sum up the webinar, of course, in 3 pillars, let's say it like this, we talked about this safe integration of inline tools. We showed higher availability in the production path. And I hope you got also to see the better maintainability for operations, right? And the easiest step and straightforward, we would go next for a architectural workshop to map the actual chain, explain the failure policy. Then, of course, you are all invited for a live demo of the monitoring and the failover behavior, and then evaluate or validate how it fits up and in your bandwidth and in your operations, right? That is, let's
Yeah,
say, from the operational point of view, how such a tool could be implemented in your network to help to achieve your operational goals. Patrick.
absolutely. Yeah. I am always eager to provide live demos. So we can also, if at any point you might want to share some high-level diagrams and your general scope of security deployment you're going to you're planning. Kindly, yeah, feel free to always get back to us. We love to go into conversations with all of you and do some designs and yeah, also doing live demo, because at the end of the day, show don't tell is one of the key facts that makes us confident.
Exactly. Seeing is believing, right? And what we are providing here, that means deterministic failover, clear health monitoring, and also flexible operation nodes for
Yeah,
the very different security architectures we have shown in the demo here. With that in mind, let us move to your questions. So, are there any questions? Feel free to put
feel
them.
free to
Yeah, we
send
are
them.
eager. We are eager.
We have the first one. What happens if the packet hawk fails in regards to power loss? This is like, I think we briefly covered it, but now this is a very good chance for me to emphasize this again, because it's important to know that similar like a network tab, the packet hawk is a layer one device. And as you can see, we also put it in the pyramid that we can see here also at the foundation. So it's a physical layer one device. And in case of a power loss of the packet hawk, you will have a full fail to wire capability. That means the traffic or the traffic between network A and network B will always be bridged immediately upon power loss of the packet hawk. Or if you manually configured it via the web UI or SSH CLI beforehand, make it fail close. So this is something you get full control, and the behavior is a pure physical behavior. So power loss will result in either, and this is the default setting, either in a bridged network A, network B communication, and having the packet hawk fully transparent sitting on the wire, or closing the connection down at all. But this is purely upon explicit configuration change from the user. Already second questions, I love it. Can we also filter what goes into the tool? Yes, actually, not only this. I think we briefly also covered this as well, but this again gives me a good chance to highlight something else in regards to the filtering. So while I already mentioned that the applied filtration will allow to forward the filtered traffic to the tool, we can also reverse it. That means when we configure a filter, if a traffic is matching the filter, it will not go into the inspection chain, but will stay on the wire. So you can think of this kind of different filtration approaches of deny by criteria or allow by criteria. Deny by criteria means if the criteria is matching, the traffic will stay on the link, or allow by criteria is if the criteria is matching, the traffic will be forwarded to the tool. Third question, wow, what security tool types do you usually see or recommend in a service chain? This actually is in most of the majority of deployments that at least I personally saw was indeed a mix of an IPS or IDS together with TLS decryption. But the majority of these kind of deployments, or actually the vast majority of these deployments, is in enterprise, because deploying a TLS decryption solution requires you to have full control over the clients in the network, because you have to deploy a custom root CA certificate on all the clients. And but to answer the question, the most common combination of inline tools that I personally saw is the security and NSM solution, IDS or IPS, combined with a TLS decryption in enterprise environments.
Yeah, that is right. Yeah, that is absolutely right. Also, for DDoS, that is also well known and well seen.
Yeah, DDoS. You have this is DDoS. Sorry for interrupting again. DDoS is actually a good case bundled with filtration, bundled with the filtering capabilities. Because, for example, in telco environments where you're providing services, voice services to your subscribers, or to your tenants, and you can, for example, when you deploy a DDoS and you want to, quote unquote, make money out of it, you can charge your customers, you can charge your tenants for the DDoS services, and the customers that did not pay for this kind of service, they will not be able to benefit from the DDoS. How do you separate the paying customers from the non-paying customers? Probably via identification that you can find between layer 2 and layer 4. Therefore, a perfect use case to use the filtration capability of the packet hawk and therefore steer the traffic which should go into the DDoS and which traffic should stay on the network because they did not pay for the DDoS service. So sorry for hijacking the DDoS tool topic, but it allowed me to to repeat something regarding the filtering.
Yeah, no doubt. Thank you very much. Are there more questions down the road? So this is not the case, okay? So I hope you enjoyed the webinar, and then see you next time on a New York's webinar with maybe the packet broker. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much for your time.